All right, we're back with another episode of Double Take, the Safety Brothers. I'm Alex, here with John. John, what's up?
This is a sad episode.
This is
because we're real fans.
Yeah.
And no sugarcoating it, but there's definitely a lot to talk about.
Yep. So, we just got back home, John, today from Puerto Rico. We were on a little post-grad trip for the long weekend, Memorial Day. Happy Memorial Day to everyone out there. And we had quite an experience last night watching Game 7. So, we're going to talk about everything. We're going to talk about takeaways. Should the Heat have won? Should Schuster's 3 have counted? Do we think Jimmy should have shot the shot? We'll talk about the offseason. But just to give a little intro, we, with 3 of our other friends who are Heat fans as well, and in Puerto Rico, so we had to go find a spot to watch the game. We go to this really cool mall type of area, and there's this big sports bar. Lots of people in there. We walked in at first to try to get a table, couldn't get a table. Guess who we saw there? One of the most notable, I think, if I were to ask the viewers out, listeners out there, think of a Puerto Rican NBA player. The first one that might come to your head, the first one that would come to my head, JJ Barea was in there. So in person, very, very short. I was initially freaking out a little bit because this is at about 8:15, and I'm like, game's at 8:30, probably tip off by 8:42, 8:45, whatever. And JJ Barea, as if any Heat fans know, not a good omen for the Heat after that 2011 finals series that he had versus the Heat with Dallas. But in any case, we saw JJ Barea. That was funny. And so we ended up watching the game there. Incredible atmosphere. Surprisingly, lots of Boston fans there in Puerto Rico. A good amount of Heat fans as well. We were going crazy. And, I guess just to open it up, John, I'll start with you with a question. I'll give you some stats first, and then I'll ask you kind of your general thoughts. But last night, John, before the Game 7, we talked about what we think Jimmy could do and what's our path to victory. And I said, Jimmy, I'm expecting his maximum points scored will be 35. Maybe I shouldn't have said that, but he scored exactly 35 points, John. And it was a real big question.
Said 38.
Maybe I said 38. He hits that 3, right? He said, all right. The other question was who else is going to show up. We weren't necessarily anticipating a big game again from Lowry after having a very good Game 6 in Boston. Bam, we actually didn't talk too much about, but we were more talking about, all right, who is it going to be? Who's going to be the Mike Miller, the Shane Battier to close us out in this Game 7 at home? Is it going to be Strus? Is it going to be Oladipo, PJ Tucker, Gabe? Even Tyler Hero, who I was skeptical about, who ended up only playing 6 minutes, John. Clearly, he was not healthy. But in any case, Jimmy plays all 48 minutes. Bam plays 46 minutes, and they showed up. They scored 60 points, combined for 20 rebounds, and they went 25 or 45, which is good for 55%. The rest of our team, John, 36 points only, and they were 12 for 43, which is good for 27%. So that was pretty much, I think, the main takeaway from the game, right, is our 2 stars showed up, our 2, guys who we know and we have the utmost hope in, even though Bam hasn't had the best series or playoffs. But that was kind of the biggest thing. And our guys looked gassed. And, I think the big story at the end was that comeback that Boston kind of led us right back in towards the end. They're up 13 points, John, right at the end there. 3.5 minutes left. And my bar, I think this is something I learned in 2011, when the Heat in Game 5 were playing Chicago in the conference finals, and we were down 10 points with about 3 minutes left, and we come back and we win that game. So for me, the way I always look at it, I don't know if that's right or wrong, but whenever I see 10 points in a 3-minute game, I'm like, all right, this is kind of the last chance to really make a run. We're down now, I think we're down 12 or 13 with 3.5 minutes, right, John? And we come back, Jimmy comes down the court, shoots that 3, misses it. What did you think, John? What was going through your head on that shot? And then why don't you just tie it to your overall takeaways from the game?
Obviously we're in Puerto Rico. We start watching the game on our phones. We grab some pizza. Then we go to this big sports bar, which was packed. Honestly, couldn't have asked for a better viewing experience. They had a massive screen. They had a first floor and a second floor looking at the same huge screen. So you can imagine how big it is. And there was more Celtics fans in there than I would have liked, but there's also a lot of Heat fans, right? Yeah. So it was a good atmosphere to be in. There were more Heat fans in there, and Jimmy. So of course we make our comeback, and I'm texting everyone. Our friends, our Heat fans, our group chat with our Celtics fans, whatever, Celtics fan friends, and I go, we need a Ray Allen miracle right now, right? And we got it. We nearly had it, right? We got as much as you could ask for. And I just, I started playing. I have the while I have this, NBA posted, final 2 minutes, 46 seconds, wild ending, Celtics versus Heat, Eastern Conference Finals, Game 7. And I'm just watching it, and it's unreal. They had 98 points, right? And I remember this,
90
Alex.
to 85.
And
3:35 left.
I don't know if you remember it, because obviously there's a lot of emotions. We're screaming, we're cheering,
I
we're
blacked out for a
more.
lot of portions of the game.
And I remember coming to you and I said, I'm like, well, I think this is it. Unless we have to keep them to 98. Unless we're going to stop them from scoring for the rest of the game. And that's exactly what we did.
You did say that.
I said that, and it was 98 points, right? And we had the shoes put back dunk. We get a Bam bucket here. We get another 3 over here. We get, and we start making this run. We get a bunch of Marcus Smart missed 3-pointers. And the thing I'll say about Tatum and the way we defended him is he made the right passes a lot of the time. They put the ball in his hands. He drove here. He drove there. Passed it to Smart, and Smart misses an open 3. They get an offensive rebound. They pass it back to Smart.
Smart had a lot of open threes last night.
A lot of open threes, and he missed them. And, we had some good ships down low. Grant Williams, we stripped him down there. But just to get back, so here we are. We make this comeback. When that Strus 3 went in, right, so we're down 5. Okay, it's 98 to 93.
Yeah.
And that Strus,
ridiculous.
that insane Strus 3 goes in.
My soul left my body.
Oh my god!
Actually, this doesn't happen to me in settings like this, games like this. I didn't even make a noise.
Right.
I actually was silent, and I was just like, I grabbed onto when he makes that ridiculous 3.
I'm making myself remember just because I have it open right here. Another Smart missed 3-pointer, right? So Smart misses like 3 threes in the last 2 minutes. We go on this 8-0 run. Then we get Strus gets it. And then boom, hits that insane 3-pointer, and when he chucked that, I was like, "Oh my god!" I was like, this is whatever, there's no way he makes it. And boom, it falls, and it felt like the LeBron James 3 that fell in Game 6.
Yeah.
And that's kind of my big takeaway was this game to me was very paralleled in a sad and disgusting way for a Heat fan, I think, to that Game 6 in 2013, and. So Strus hits that 3, and I just started screaming. I remember, oh! And of course they come down. We stopped them on this play. I have it up right now.
What was the play after the
So the play,
I actually don't remember.
So Smart gets the ball. Here he drives it, puts it up, missed layup, we rebound. Okay, Jimmy gets it, 21 seconds left. He drives up the court, stops, pulls up. Okay, so now I'm looking at it right now. He stopped, and the second he pulls up and the ball goes into the air, boom, I visualize it, okay? And the first time I had visualized this was the day of the 2 Game 7s. The Suns got knocked out. They were the big, juggernaut team. They won 64 games. And the Bucks got knocked out. And when I see Warriors, Mavericks, Heat, Celtics, I go, oh my gosh. And for the first time ever, I visualized Jimmy Butler holding a Finals MVP trophy, okay? And I visualized the Heat actually winning with this Jimmy rebuild, with this Jimmy build, this iteration of our team. Because you know what? We were the front runners when we had LeBron and Wade. It would have been a disappointment if we didn't win, right? 2020, we go to the NBA Finals. That year, I could visualize, after Game 1 against Milwaukee, I could visualize us beating Milwaukee. Then we go up 2-0, 3-0. We beat Milwaukee. Then Celtics, after we beat Giannis, it was like, we're going to take the Celtics. And we go to the finals. I never realistically thought we were going to take down LeBron. LeBron was going to get his 4th championship and his 4th Finals MVP. Of course, we competed way better than I think anyone thought.
And there's something to be said for the injuries that we had.
Right.
Bam and Goran Dragic. If both of those guys were healthy, who knows? Maybe we do win it. In any case.
So I visualize this, right? And of course we go up 1-0 in the series. We go up 2-1 in the series. And I'm like, oh my God, we have a shot. If we get Golden State or Dallas, I do like the way our defense matches up with them, whatever. And then we just have such a disheartening Games 4 and 5. Games 4, Jimmy Butler, I wish he would have just sat out all of Game 4.
I agree.
Remember
I said that too.
They were going to get the win.
I said, dude, we should actually just do it. We should bench everyone, let Boston take that fake win.
Right.
Which is,
So Game 4, the night of Alex and I's graduation, we fly home. We go to Game 5 on the Wednesday night. And that's a game, if we win, I said the winner of this game is going to win the title. And so I guess right now, that's my early finals pick. I guess I'll stick with the Celtics there.
I disagree.
But, we can talk about it afterwards. But, so, again, fast forward, horrible Game 5, miracle Game 6 we talked about on the last episode. And now here we are, came all the way back from down 17 points, and Jimmy's sitting there, and his shot goes up. And because when we were down 13, when we were down 17, whatever, I started to let the idea of us winning really slip, and I did not. I thought, well, all right, we got Celtics Warriors in the finals.
Even as we made that run, like we get to like, I think, 91, 80, 93 points, and they still have 98. I'm still like, nah. Like I wasn't even cheering for that. Like the Oladipo free throw, I was still silent. I was so nervous. I was so on edge.
When Kyle Lowry hit a few shots, I was like, nah. Yeah. I was like, no, whatever. So whatever. This shot goes up and it flashes through my head. I'm like, oh my God, are we gonna win? Like the score flashed in my head. I'm like, if he makes this, it's 99-98 with 17 seconds left, right? It hits when the shot hits the rim. There's 16.5 seconds left.
John, when he shot that, there was not a doubt in my mind.
And I thought he was making it.
I thought he was making it. Actually, now I want to read Spoelstra's quote.
Yeah.
He said, I thought it would have been an incredible storyline for Jimmy to pull up and hit that three. I love that about Jimmy. That was the right look. I just thought, as it was leaving his hand, I thought for sure that was going down. It was a good, clean look. Definitely better than anything we could have designed. It was a shame it didn't end that way.
Right. So, also, Ryan Russillo and Bill Simmons, they talked about it. Russillo said he thought it was falling. I said I thought it was falling. Right. So, Spo did. Jimmy said that our players wanted me taking that shot. I think a lot of us thought it was falling.
That shot was supposed to go in, John.
There's the flip side.
It was destiny. It was supposed to go in.
I thought it was.
It really was.
I am a bit surprised at how unanimously, I think, just NBA Twitter and the media members, like, for example, John Hollinger was tweeting a lot last night. We can talk about the Strus, out of bounds play again. That's a whole separate segment to talk about. But a lot of people, I feel like unanimously, from Nick Wright to Stephen A. Smith, whoever it is, were saying Jimmy Butler, like, he's the guy. He has 35 points. He shoots that shot. You have to live with it. But the second he misses it, it hits the rim. So again, it goes up.
Well, I didn't have that experience. Not a lot of people were actually disagreeing, going back and forth. That I saw on Twitter.
So it goes up, hits rim, and the second hits the rim and it goes down. And now I'm like, shoot. Are we gonna get a Bosh out to a rebound out to Allen, whatever?
I actually thought that too.
and it bounces off someone's hand. Oladipo misses it, and then Horford's right there, basically with Kyle Lowry, and Horford grabs it, and that's that. And now I'm like, shoot, and I go to the ground. My legs are weak. The last time I remember, something with the Heat making me just fall to the floor was when I read that Dwayne Wade signed with the Chicago Bulls, right? And I fall to the floor, and I'm going, no, Jimmy, why did you shoot that? Why? Yeah, and I'm just thinking, shoot, you drive to the basket, get a foul on Horford, or you get the two and then you tie it up and then we play defense for 10 seconds. But then the thing is, are we going to win it in overtime? And that was kind of the stuff I started seeing, the takes I started seeing where it's like, were we going to be able to pull that off in overtime? Maybe momentum, we would have been able to do it. But at that point, Jimmy had played 48, Bam had played 46. We're going to just go with that lineup for 5 more minutes. I mean, the crowd got into it. I could have seen us doing it the same way once Ray Allen hits that three. I had no doubt we were winning in overtime. So I would say, all that being said, you live with that shot, and I think that shot will also haunt me forever, because knowing that if he hits that shot, we pull off one of the greatest comebacks ever in the playoffs in one game and in a Game 7, and it's going to be one of the most demoralizing losses ever. And just, again, to quote,
I mean, if the Celtics blew that, because
Bill Simmons
were we dead after we go down 3-2 and everyone counted us out, we go into Boston, win that. So many times during that game, whether it was the first quarter, they go up 17 points, whether it was the third quarter, whether it was even the fourth quarter, we pull it within 3, remember, the very beginning of the fourth quarter, and they start to pull away.
Get back to 13,
now they're up to 13 with 3 minutes left. Like, we were dead like 4 or 5 times, even throughout this game. And then, somehow, 96-98, and Jimmy Butler is in the air with a chance to get our first lead of the game, John. I mean, it is definitely, I would say, it's the worst loss that I can remember watching as a Heat fan. I don't remember the 2011 finals too well. We were 11 years old at that point, but this is one that I will always remember, and it always hurt, especially because it was on our home court, especially because it was Boston, especially because we almost had a beautiful, amazing comeback to go to the finals.
And again, Al, for Celtics fans, Bill Simmons, he said this would have been the worst Celtics loss of his life.
Yeah.
Of his life. So he's been watching since 70s, right? So he has a lot of data as far as Celtics fans go. He's like the big talking head for them, and I think so too. If they had blew this, I don't know what they do for me.
Yeah, I mean, while we're on that topic, John, let me, we haven't given credit to the Celtics yet. First, I'll say credit to the Celtics.
We're gonna have a minute here.
I'll throw some shade. I want to throw some shade. I want to say I'll give them some credit, and then I'll give them some credit. I'll throw some stones at them. So first off, got to give them credit. Tatum, I'll say the biggest moment, I was more impressed with Jaylen Brown, and it felt like he just was killing us last night. Tatum obviously was pretty solid, but then he got a little bit cold for a while, and ultimately the 26 foot a 3-pointer that he hits, and then a few minutes later he hits
the 2 second left on the shot
clock,
clock, right?
he does like a little spin around, catch 2 seconds, hits it on Jimmy. Those 2 shots, huge, and those are probably 2 reasons why he was the first ever Eastern Conference Finals MVP.
Mm-hmm.
However, everyone, especially our Celtics fans, I don't know if they listen to our Celtics fan friends, if they listen to this or not, whatever. We're like, oh, the Celtics were like that. It's Game 7. Tatum wasn't gonna lose. This that.
No.
They really, really, really almost had like a historic choke job.
They asked.
I mean, they were really just giving the game away, and it's why it pains me. It pains me for this reason, John, as a Heat fan, that our 2 stars, they did show up, and other than that, no one really. No, we needed one more guy. If it was Lowry, I really think we win. If Struz hits, one more 3, we went 6 for 30 from 3, John. Mm-hmm. Lowry was 1 for 6. PJ was over 2. He was definitely injured. He only played 17 minutes. Oladipo 1 for 7. Vincent 1 for 3. Hero, he couldn't do anything. He was 0 for 1. So our 3-point shooters were not on last night. That's something we talked about before the game was gonna be a key. And so if just one more of these guys is on, it's actually incredible that we were in this game at all when really 2 of our guys came into play. And then I guess I'll get 2.5. Maybe we'll give Lowry hit a few minutes.
Lowry did. I'll say this. Lowry gave us the best that I think version that he could have given us, given the fact that it was very clear Spo was going with the shortened lineup.
Dude. Lowry in the first half was just so... His decision making, what he was doing.
Yeah.
And all the antics. I guess all the antics, they ultimately, sometimes they help us, the flopping, whatever. But it's just like, man.
I thought he had the ball not a little bit, a lot too much in the fourth quarter. And I know it's because Jimmy was gassed.
And so did Oladipo.
I said this. To me, Jimmy looked like he was visibly, clearly, was injured. Just by the way that we were not going to him with the ball.
I think he was gassed. Are you talking about the fourth quarter?
Yeah.
Because there was a long stretch where he had 24 at halftime. He probably hit 30 earlier in the fourth quarter. And then he didn't continue. Right. And it was like, wait, why is the ball? And the ball, it did feel like Oladipo had the ball a lot of times. Mm-hmm. And John, to tell you the truth, I thought Oladipo was going to be the third guy. I was waiting, one of these guys, someone's going to come through. Whether it's Struz, whether it's Oladipo, whether it's Vincent. Someone's going to come through and they're going to hit a few buckets straight. And that's going to be what we remember. Just like we remember Jeff Green in Game 7 in 2018, those Eastern Conference Finals, how LeBron needed someone else to show up and Jeff Green was the answer, right? So, we had Jimmy and Bam. We needed one more, and no one showed up. I thought it was going to be Oladipo. And remember, he had that very weird heat check, try to go 2 for 1 at the end of the third quarter, long 3-pointer. Right. And that was like, I had to be mad at it, but I also was like, I kind of like it. I kind of like the mentality, because if he hit that was huge, right?
Right.
And he couldn't do it, and it is what it is. But
so just Al, I don't know if the stats.
We didn't even end up talking about the Celtics, but I guess my point was the Celtics really almost blew it.
Right, and we can get to them in a second. I don't know if you know, these are the stats in front of you. Do you know who the leader in plus minus for the Heat was last night?
Ooh, that's a good question. Let me guess. It can't be Jimmy.
So I can give you a hint. The lowest person was someone you could guess probably was PJ Tucker, right?
Yeah.
Played early. We're down 16. He really didn't play much the rest of the game. He played 17 minutes. He was minus 16. Okay.
All right. I'll guess Oladipo.
It was Oladipo. He was plus 16. Okay.
Wow.
16.
Oh my goodness.
Struz plus 4. Hero was 0. He was even so the minutes he went in, there was no lead taken or no lead lost, right? So. Those are our only 2 guys that were in the positive. Jimmy played the whole game, so he was minus 4, obviously. Bam was minus 8 because he got 2 minutes off. But
John, what that says to me is that really we kind of blew the game in the we didn't blow the game. We didn't blow the game in the beginning, but obviously we started off so cold, and especially in a Game 7, you want to get your crowd into it. You hit a few shots early, especially the Celtics team. They can make runs, right. But I kind of think it's a team that if just like we saw in Game 6, we controlled it almost wire to wire. I think. Right.
Yeah. So I'll get to the Celtics now. I'll give them their roses here. As much as I hate the Celtics here, I'll take off my Heat fan hat and I'll put on my NBA fan hat on, and I'll say what they've done this playoffs is pretty awesome. And if you're a fan of the Celtics, you're looking at this. If you win this title as a Celtics, to me this is way more. This trophy will weigh more than the 2008 one, right? They threw that team together and boom, they won a title. And they beat Kobe and the Lakers, and that was great. But to me, this year of this whole revenge tour, and I had noted this in my head because I looked.
I didn't realize that. We were about to say I didn't realize this.
Yeah, since Tatum had had been drafted, you look at who they've lost to. Okay, in 2018 they lost to the Cavaliers. LeBron left. They don't have a chance to defeat him. Unless, the Lakers, if they face the Lakers in the finals, that's the only way this could be even better tasting as a Celtics fan. But they lose. They win the first round with Kyrie in 2019, and then they lose second round to Milwaukee. Then the next year they get swept by the Nets 2020 they lose to us in the Eastern Conference Finals. Yeah. 2021 they get swept by the Nets in the first round. They get to sweep the Nets in the first round. They get to go beat the Milwaukee in 7 games. Okay,
and then come to Miami.
And they get to come to Miami in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Not in the bubble, and they beat us on
our home floor. And you look at that and you say, we just won 2 Game 7s. We got our guy Tatum. He's the guy. Whatever. I have my reservations about him, but we can get to that later on. I think, he showed up. He played great. Tatum averaged 25, whatever. He got the Larry Bird trophy. To me, and some people had said, Jimmy Butler did get a vote, and some people were.
He should have won it.
Nick Wright tweeted it. John Hollinger tweeted it, which 2 people that I respect as far as talking heads go. Nick Wright for sure, and Hollinger is like. He's the guy who created the PER statistic.
No, yeah,
he's not like a talking head type of guy who's coming up with some like smart. Crazy argument. He's like a smart guy, and he tweeted, if Jimmy Butler doesn't win this, there needs to be an investigation, right? So whatever. Obviously, they like to give it to the winning team. That's what happens. I don't have a problem with that. I knew if they were gonna win, Tatum deserved it. That's fine. But just to give the Celtics their flowers, if they go on to beat the Warriors, which we can get to that, I think. If they're fully healthy, to me, Celtics over Warriors. But right now they're banged up. They've had a harder road than the Warriors have. Mm-hmm. But to me, that's an incredible championship. So Celtics fans, congratulations! If you guys got there, and it's a very enjoyable run. I think you guys, to me, although the Warriors are favored, to me, I think it doesn't. I don't think it's complete unless you win the chip, because. To me, I think by size, you guys are overmatched against them. But whatever. We can talk about that later out.
John, I think I'm glad you gave them their flowers. And I have to say, the biggest thing that I'll think about is, like, it took them, it feels like this team, this core has been around for a while together. And it's been taking so much to get over the hump. Even to this last minute, if Butler hits that shot, right, maybe they don't even do it, right? So it took so much to get them over this hump into the finals. They've all been in conference finals. None of them have played in the finals. Even Al Horford, his whole career, whether it was on the Celtics or the Hawks or whoever else, he's never been in the finals.
Did you see that statistic about Horford, by the way?
What?
I think he had played the most, either like playoff games. I want to say it was playoff games. He's a player that had played the most playoff games in NBA history without having gone to a NBA Finals.
But that is interesting.
I was shocked. I was like, shoot,
that's
can we please beat him tonight? I was like, let's extend that statistic.
Which he's a generally likable player. I just don't like him because he's on the Celtics. But, so they finally, they get over the hump. They couldn't do it in 2018, couldn't do it in 2020. Finally, this year it happens for them. But I will say, as a Heat fan and as a Celtics hater, I'm gonna give them the asterisk, okay? If Middleton is healthy, I don't think they win that series. I don't think they go 7 games without your second best player, without an all-star player. I think they don't win that series. Like, I think there's a legitimate argument to be made. Whether forget Jimmy's health and forget the fact that games 4 and 5, there was something whack and whatever they did.
3. Somehow the second half of game 3, we still won.
Second half of game 3, we still win that. And forgetting Kyle Lowry's health, but Tyler Hero, if he's healthy, maybe that's a very different series too. So mostly the Middleton thing, that's a big difference. We do have to give them their credit, but this is, as a Heat fan, as a hater, I think they did get lucky, and whatever. You always need luck to make these runs.
Yeah,
but
and to me, obviously it's very Middleton salty because they had their share of injuries too. They missed Smart for a couple of, if it was 2 games, at least it was game 1. They missed Williams, right? So to me, it's like they missed their time. Derek White missed a game and then comes back, has a run of a few good games for them. So to me, it's like the Hero thing is like because that's game 7, but at the same time they had their injuries and we were in it. We had a shot. We had the shot to win it, and the shot didn't go in. Maybe actually now, before we get into talking about Heat off season, we gotta talk about the Strus shot as well.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much to be said other than it's ridiculous. We were shocked. Eric Spoelstra said it. The way that it happened was just unusual. It was bizarre.
Right.
Forgetting the fact that his foot looked like it was clearly hovering over the line. I have some vivid memory of Dwayne Wade in his red sneakers. Same thing, hovering over the line of out of bounds or something, or was it 3-point? I don't know, something like that. I think against the Pacers. It might have been in the regular season or something. But I just remember vividly Dwayne Wade's foot hovering, and now I had the same memory with this Max Strus foot hovering, and somehow all of a sudden 3 points are taken away. We were just down, 10 points after they hit a 3, and now we're down 13.
Right.
What was that? Out of nowhere. And we found out all these, now there's this thing where, the NBA office can make these changes even though the refs didn't. And now what? We were not able to challenge it? Because it was clearly the wrong call. And that affected the game. And Spoelstra said the worst thing about it is not like whether it was the wrong call or right call. They didn't stop the game and say, let's look at this, look at it. Okay, no, you're not getting the points. It happens now 5 minutes of like real time later, a few minutes of game time. And they're making a run. Like, it feels like it's 7, it's 8, and all of a sudden you're down 13
the
points.
Offshore consultants reviewed it, and bang,
Yeah,
it's like
it killed us.
It's so demoralizing to see the score go down 3 points, right? Usually it's like, I thought they were gonna say they reviewed his 3-pointer. His foot was on the line.
Yeah, it was
like when they were saying that, I was like, oh shoot, is it only a 2? I'm like, this is gonna kill us. Now we're gonna lose by 1. And no, it wasn't that. It was minus 3 points. So now you look at that, and this is the other thing.
It was a 6-point swing.
Yeah,
it was a 6-point
and
swing.
you can't say that
because they had just hit a 3.
Right, and you can't say that. Well, they stopped the game, they reviewed it. Then we went forward. It fully was just a minus 3. Like you can leave our total up. So really, we lost the game 100-99. But not only that, really means we would have been up 99-98.
Yeah, I mean, you don't know that we wouldn't maybe wouldn't have been in that juncture. It means the whole butterfly effect.
Yeah, Schuster's next 3 that gave us 96-98. Now it's 99-98. Whatever it is, like you said, the butterfly effect. Players maybe they play differently, knowing what the score is and how close we are. Maybe the Celtics do something differently. They foul us. They play better defense. They do whatever they do. We shoot a different shot. I get it. Different. The ball bounces a different way. However, it's so hard to swallow that, knowing that again we're down again. If we're down less points, we're not fouling Marcus Smart to give him those last 2 free throws and whatever. And of course, the game would have ended a different way. But if we're still in it at that point, who knows what happens? Dude, maybe we take a lead in the fourth quarter.
In a game like this, and this is a game that, I mean, this is the beauty of sports, right? It's a game. I don't know what this is. I think they say in football, it's a game of inches, right? And it's like one thing here or there, one play, one made shot, one miss. One call by a ref, one foul, one this, one that, can change the trajectory, and especially in a game 7, and when you have a team like the Celtics who all these years trying to get over the hump, this is this big breakthrough moment. Oh, look, the Celtics finally did it. But look how close they were to almost not doing it, and look how close the Heat were to having this amazing, finals. A team that would make the finals when everyone counted us out, when we really shouldn't have, when 2 years ago they counted us out, and even after that, you're the bubble boys, you're the bubble frauds, right? And so, in this year, I hopefully, people will respect this, because this is a good argument, there's a general sports argument. Would you rather get, blown out in a game, or would you rather lose by 1, or lose at the very end on a buzzer beater, right? And my answer is usually like, I think you'd rather be blown out because it really stings when you have a chance to win it. But I think in this case, I'm glad that our team didn't show up in Game 7 and roll over and just get steamrolled like we did in Game 4 or in the second half of Game 5, where it just seemed like there was nothing that we could do. Like, that would have really been demoralizing for me. So, with everything being said, as much as this, we just said, this is probably the worst loss that we can remember, the most painful loss that we can remember as Heat fans. You know what? I'm proud of our team that we proved ourselves, and I think, whatever. I never thought we were frauds. I thought the bubble was everything. I think we proved to everyone that we just as much as the Celtics we are just as worthy of being in the finals, and whatever. They came to play. Their role players made more shots than we did at the end of the day, and it kind of that's why they're there and we're not. Right. But ultimately, I think we proved ourselves, and I'm proud of our team.
Yeah, and I agree with you with the blowout versus close game, but I guess in that light, I would say the 2014. I guess I would say games 3 and 4. In my memory, they kind of blend together in the NBA Finals.
Yeah,
2014. I just picture Kawhi Leonard dominating,
dunking
in
on
that yellow, in the yellow paint and the yellow and red court, the Miami Heat court. The fact that it was at home for us and we got absolutely destroyed. Game 5 not as much because they go back at home and they're going to close it out. But in games 3 and 4, those to me are more painful. This one, that's the thing. No one can shit on what the Heat did this season. No one can say they weren't right there with the best teams. No one can say they weren't a shot away from going to the finals, because we were. We were one shot away from going to the NBA finals.
And potentially one terrible ref call.
Right. And that's why with the Celtics fans, it's like, we got them last time, they got us this time, whatever. Maybe we'll face them again in the next year, the next 2 years of the playoffs, whatever, when Jimmy's 33 or 34, or we have a new core, maybe we have Donovan Mitchell, whatever, we can get to that. But, to me, we dominated them in the bubble, right? This one, we were right there. So I would rather have lost the way we did by a shot. We were one shot away from going up 99-98 with 16 seconds left in the game versus, we were up 2-0 on them and 3-1 on them. We dominated them. It wasn't a series really. So to me, I totally agree with you there.
Yeah, and I think too, just looking forward for them. I mean, that's the only thing that does bum me out is this. Last episode, John, we talked about the windows, and even when you're a young team, you think you have this long championship window. We're so young, we're so good, but it closes faster than you think, and that's the thing that I'm worried most about with the Heat. Right? We have a team that's much older. We have a guy in Jimmy who, he did it 2 years ago. Last playoffs, he looked terrible, and then this year playoffs, he comes back and he shows that he can be the number one guy on a championship team again. He's gonna turn 33 next season, so the clock is absolutely ticking. We have Bam, we have Hero. They're younger, they're up and coming, but it's, when you look at a team like the Celtics, they're making the finals and they're only going to, it looks like, they should only get better. They're going to have to retool with the Horford piece. He's really their only old guy. Other than that, their core of Tatum, Brown, Smart, Williams, those other guys, they're young. Those guys are going to continue to improve over the next coming years. Yeah. And whereas the Heat, it seems like we're going to have, a lot of challenges this offseason, or not challenges, but a lot of important things to address. So I guess it's a good segue maybe if you want to get into that now.
Yeah, well, I guess something I could say too is just like, I guess the reason I'm to move on into the next one. The reason I trust, although the window, you're right, is closing, Jimmy Butler's a little bit older, and even after 2020, it's like, shoot, how are we going to make it back? But he proved to me that he knows how to manage his body in the regular season, and that we'll have a deep enough roster, again, in the regular season. Duncan Robinson, he can play regular season.
Yeah, there's 82 game players and there's the 16 game players.
And I trust that Jimmy, we cannot win if he's going to have to put up 47 or 41 and 35 multiple times throughout the playoffs.
Yeah, most 40 points. He had the most 40-point games.
This playoffs, yeah. So to me, it's like we can't win if Jimmy's doing that. But if you put the right next guy to him, like to me, it's like, there's a few different ways. Does Hero take a step up? All right, does he become? What's the best version of Hero? That is me looking at it would be like the best possible version is he's like a poor man's version of like Devin Booker, just like 2-guard scorer, can get a bucket, like whatever. Not the best defensively, but like but it could be an all-star. That's what you need.
I think right now the best case scenario, or at least what I want him to be able to do, is to be the regular season Hero in the playoffs, which we saw, or even be 2020 bubble Hero. In next year's playoffs.
It was nice. We got to hunt the matchup of Kemba Walker, and he cooked. He hit 37
but
points.
Even against Milwaukee, I mean, this playoffs he was struggling, wasn't fully healthy, whatever. But we're gonna hope that he can improve. So,
but to me, it's like I trust because look at what the Heat have done, and that's the thing. As much as it sucks to lose, and when you're this close, I know we'll be back because we got Spo. Spo is young, and as experienced as Spo is. He said, after the game like that, he had never, or from this series, I think he said something about, I'm forgetting the quote, but he talked about the adjustments that he made and like he had never experienced a series like this before. I'm totally blanking on what he said specifically, but that quote just made me go, oh my gosh, like Spo is young and he's like learning, and like he's only getting better as a coach. Like as a coach, it's not like you can get worse. I mean, I guess you could, but I'm saying it's not like, to me. His brain is getting better. As obviously players deteriorate, their body, their physical health gets worse as they get older. Spo is going to be there. Pat Riley's old, but I know that our infrastructure will be in place that whoever takes over Pat Riley will know the kind of system that we have, to know the kind of culture that we have, that they will bring in the amount of players. I just know that our organization, it's there. I trust it. Jimmy can retire. Bam can be injured for a season. We can have a horrible season, but I know that we're going to always come back that next year and be hungry and be competitive enough to go to the playoffs, to want to compete, to want to win a title. And so to me, it's like, now again, like I said, like it can't be Jimmy winning it. So who are the guys you think we should go after? Obviously, Donovan Mitchell's the first one.
Well, yeah, I mean that's
an unhappy superstar out west. Right?
It is crazy that all season long we were so deep, and then really through this playoffs, Jimmy just really carried us throughout the way, even in games where he really shouldn't have, whether it was against Philly or even Atlanta or whatever. So Jimmy carried us, but yeah, we need to help. So maybe it's doing like a 2 or a 3-for-1 type of trade. We trade multiple pieces for one big piece, and for this person to be our third guy. And so I think the two biggest question marks of like who are we gonna keep, who are we gonna move potentially is One, do we trade Duncan Robinson? Actually, we're not asking you. One, yes or no, do we trade Duncan Robinson this offseason?
I was going to say, I don't think that's a big question because to me, it's like a resounding yes. Just
Okay.
because of the fact that we're paying him what we're paying him and we didn't play him in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So you have to trade him. I think you must. And a lot of players want a guy that does what he does. So to me,
A lot of teams, yeah.
To me, that one is the easiest trade. To me, that's like I'm not even penciling that in. I'm penning. I'm putting that in pen. Not Sharpie, but I'm putting that in pen.
I think, unfortunately, it pains me to say I do agree. And
why does it pain you to say that?
It pains me because I love Duncan Robinson.
I do too,
because I think he's a great heat culture guy. I love who he is, and another pain is just like we just gave him this 5-year, $90 million contract. It's wild to me how quickly things can change. Even just look in the bubble. Look in the finals. He had the game 5 versus the Lakers. Did he have what 6 threes, 7 threes? He had a huge game.
But Alex,
and now it gets to the point where it's like even though LeBron was hunting him the same way that people are doing it. Were the Celtics doing it more? I mean, I just read a stat. The Celtics scored it wasn't 1.2, but it was 1.2 points per time they threw Duncan Robinson in a pick and roll, and he would hedge or switch.
Yeah, and
so they just scored every single time.
I agree with you, Alex. He's a heat culture guy. I love him. I love watching him develop. I will root for him, and I wish for all the best for him. However, look at our 2020 finals team versus this 2022 team, which I don't know. I would probably say those teams are neck and neck. If not, this team might be a little better, if whatever. Yeah. But to me, look at these two teams: Jimmy, Bam, Tyler Hero was a rookie then. Yeah. And Duncan Robinson. Those are the only 4 guys. So as much as I hate to say
so last night, Duncan didn't play, and Hero played 6 minutes. So it was really just
to me,
Jimmy and Bam.
Exactly.
Which is crazy to think how different those two teams
are. If we're going to re-up, if we're going to get a new team, the thing is, the big question is, what do we do with Lowry? Because
that was going to be the second one.
$26 million we're paying him a year, right? So he's got a 3-year contract. He's got 2 more left. So it's like, seeing what he looked like this playoffs, it's like, no. If he doesn't have all those horrible shots, he started off 0 for 5 in the game. If he doesn't have all those horrible shots, we're going to the finals. If he looks like he did on that 2019 Raptors championship team, we're going to the finals. Of course, I'm not going to just say, oh, well, if he looked great, Of course,
if he looked, 4 years younger.
Yeah, if PJ Tucker was 4 years younger, I'm not going to say that and as if it's a real if statement. But he's 35 years old. But if he's in a little bit better shape, right? He was injured, but to me, it's also...
It's funny. He doesn't look like a guy who's
heavier.
Yeah, he is.
He's heavier.
He needs that Chris Paul vegan diet.
Right, and Chris Paul, Kyle Lowry's been called, the Chris Paul in the East, whatever. And to me, it's can we get Chris Paul? Obviously, Chris Paul, 37, kind of fell. I talked about it last episode. Kind of fell off the cliff in the playoffs against the Mavericks. But can we get a version of Lowry that plays 60 games? We don't play him back to backs. He goes on this. Is he hungry enough to do what Chris Paul did and go on this plant-based diet and just work out and spend $1 million? Because he has $1 million. We're paying him $1 million. Can you spend $1 million in your body next year, Kyle? Can you do that and devote yourself to this team so we can get Jimmy Butler a championship? Because if not, I don't know if we're winning.
John, I don't necessarily know if I want to call into question whatever. It sounds like whatever his his health, his work ethic, this and that. I think it might have just come down to he's old and he got injured, right? He was clearly injured early in the playoffs. He's missing games. Late, at this point in the playoffs, he was banged up. He was able to give us that game 6, which is good. He went 16 and 10 assists. So maybe this is not who he is. But
so do you see a world in which he looks good next season and we're competing in the 2023 playoffs?
I do. I wouldn't rule it out. However, I also wouldn't, bank on it or count on it. So I guess here, let's just get straight to it. My hope for this offseason is Jimmy and Lowry have a good offseason. They're able to rest. They're able to get healthy. And throughout the regular season, they can, because of our depth, they're able to not coast, but they don't have to exert themselves, and they're able to save themselves for the playoffs. Second thing, Bam and Hero, I want to see one big step from each of them. For Hero, maybe it's continuing to do it. Maybe it's jumping into the starting lineup and doing what he's doing, instead of off the bench in the lineup, and continuing to lead with the second stringers too. While you let Jimmy have less of the reins of the offense. Bam, I want to see him. Basically, the game that we just saw from Bam in Game 7, I want to see that from him. I want to see him be aggressive. I want to see him hit those 10-foot shots.
That needs to be him every night. Shots. I don't know if that's a lot to ask for.
It is a lot to ask for every night because, he's still young and whatever.
That's what I'm saying.
But no,
he's young. He should be the workhorse.
Yeah.
It shouldn't have been Jimmy carrying this team.
Well, that's in the playoffs. But, and he had obviously his hands full with the, Al Horford and Rob Williams. But yes, it's more the mindset thing for him. I want him to be more aggressive, and we've been saying this for it feels like years at this point. So Bam and Hero to take big steps. Strus and Vincent, I think they're both still under contract, but they're not fully guaranteed. I don't really understand how those they weren't two-way contracts, whatever. These smaller contracts work exactly. But I think that we're going to be able to keep them for cheap this next season. Yeah, and so I want to see improvements from them. I want to see Vincent become it's more consistent because his peaks are. He's a starting guard in the NBA. He's at his peak, right?
I think on a championship team, he's a great backup point guard to have.
I think on a championship team, he could be starting. He's not like the best player. He's not
he's starting with LeBron, Bosh, and Wade, and yeah. Sure.
Well, yeah, no, I think he's better than Mario Chalmers, honestly, John. Gabe Vincent, whatever. Maybe that's a good discussion. Anyway, so I want to see him and Strus improve. Those, and then lastly, I think from the retooling side of things, we have to figure out how we can replace PJ and what we can flip Duncan for. Can we get a guy that's obviously not going to be as good of a shooter as Duncan, but he's going to be, 50% better on defense or 60 or 70%, right? Like, is it a Harrison Barnes guy? That's, we were texting with Eli. Eli said, someone maybe just off the top of his head, like Harrison Barnes, who's more of a two-way player, can still hit threes, So that's kind of, those are the guys that I would like to go after. And, we'll see. I mean, I do trust the front office to be able to get those things together, but my biggest fear, my biggest concern, I guess, is the Lowry piece of things, because I trust Jimmy for at least next season. I trust that Bam will be Bam. I think Hero can improve. I love Strus and Vincent, and like I said, the front office will be able to get more vets. But what are we gonna do with Lowry, right? How do we replace that? Because we're paying him too much money for him to be what he was in the playoffs, in my opinion.
That's why to me, it's like if he gets healthy, and like you said. And healthy. I mean, it's like if he is healthy, right, during the playoffs, because he did not look good this playoffs. Looking at the Sixers series, the 2 games he played, we lost both of them. The 4 games he didn't play, we won all 4 of them. Mm-hmm. So to me, it's like the Lowry that we almost thought we were getting. He did. The Lowry we were so excited to get when I was like, oh my gosh, I loved Goran, but replacing Lowry with Goran with Lowry to me was like. Now we are a legitimate title contender. Yeah. And I thought that all season long. And I thought this over the summer when we got him. I thought we had a shot at getting a 1 seed. And we did. Yeah. And look how close we were getting. We were a shot away from going to the finals. So to me, it's like, you're right. If Hero takes a step up, if Bam takes a step up, Jimmy and Lowry are healthy. To me, that team should be good enough.
You're right. The only question is, all right, will Milwaukee come back healthy? Does Boston come back and they're better?
I want Yurt 7, big step up. That's our backup center.
For the regular season, though. He's not a playoff guy.
I mean, we'll see, bro.
No, he's not a playoff guy.
Can he replace Dedmon? Dedmon didn't play in this series, so maybe he doesn't play in when Spo cuts the line to 6 or 7. But
so it depends on the series.
He's a backup center.
Dedmon was clearly
no more Dedmon, right? But to me, it's like. Then it's the question. I agree with you. Vincent and Strus, we're freaking lucky that those guys are so cheap right now because they're really good role players.
In a few years, they're gonna get a lot
Caleb Martin. We got to bring back Martin. So it's like to me, it's like those 4 guys, like Yurt 7, Strus, Vincent, Caleb. It's those 4 kind of role guys, and then it's like what happens with Oladipo, PJ Tucker.
Oh yeah, we didn't even talk about Oladipo.
We need a younger, taller version of PJ Tucker. Which I think every
NBA, Grant Williams.
Yeah, I mean, I'm almost thinking a big yes, I guess he's the younger version of
Thad Young. Is someone's a free agent. That's just
Thad Young's a free agent. I think he's
not as good of a 3-point shooter. I don't think though.
But it's like we need because to me it's like you're looking if we're gonna is Hero gonna be just Lou Williams for the next 3 years? No. I think we want to bring Hero into the starting lineup and start giving him these bigger shots.
The tough thing though is with Hero is we did not play Duncan because of his defense. Hero's the same boat. If anything, he might be worse.
He's younger and can improve. I think he's more athletic, but you're right. But I think you can have one guy in your lineup that's not the best defensively, right? If you have Lowry, Hero, Butler, and then Bam.
We didn't really do that. Maybe against the Celtics, it depends. The later you get in the playoffs, you can't do that.
You have those 4 guys starting. Okay, Lowry, Butler, Bam, and Hero, and then to me it's like. We needed that Jay Crowder piece, right? Yeah. We had it in 2020. We lost it in 2021. Trevor Ariza was not that guy.
So bad.
So bad. Was not that guy. Oh, my God. Tucker, I think this is it for him. He's on his last legs. I don't know who wants him, but so to me, it's like, what's the trade package?
He's under contract. I think he's a player option. If he wanted to, he could opt out, but I don't know why he would.
And this is the thing. If we're talking about a guy like, Donovan Mitchell, the only way we're getting him is if we're trading away, Hero, Robinson, Kyle Lowry. Like for salary.
I just don't see why. I don't see why
I
they
trust
do that unless they're tearing it down. And I think if I just Utah, we don't have to get into Utah too much. But
do you trade Gobert? Or
yeah, I think if I had to trade one of them, well, first of all, I wouldn't want to. But if I had to, because you just like whatever, they haven't been able to get over the hump. I would side with Mitchell because he's Mitchell. You know, you don't stay with Gobert. Right. So I don't know, John. But I guess let's just touch on Oladipo before we wrap up. Maybe we can give some quick finals predictions. Oladipo piece, John. He obviously, last year he's gets traded to the Rockets. We end up trading for him. He's still playing for that contract in the summer. We didn't know if we were gonna give him all the money or if someone else. He ends up getting hurt, right? Hurts his knee, and then this year we give him a prove it contract. Give him a veteran minimum. He's I think only $2 million 1 year. He's getting paid nearly the same amount as Udonis Haslem, who barely plays any games. And throughout this playoffs, he's been streaky. He had games where he looked great. He had games where he looked like, he's not a guy who should be on the floor in a Game 7, right? But, John, what do you think is the market for him? Is a team going to throw some money at him? Or are we going to be able to keep him for a 2-year contract worth, hopefully, under $8 million? I don't know, something like that, under $10 million. So if we even want to, which I personally would like to keep Oladipo, as long as we can keep him for cheap.
Right. And you could say, it's certainly surprising if you, looked back at, when we picked him. Or I'll say this. When you look back at when, maybe January, we're all right, he's on his return. February, seeing when he's going to come back. And said he was going to get the minutes that he did in this final game, in this Game 7, right?
I think he played, the fifth most or fourth most minutes.
He played. I mean, that was we went 6 guys deep really because Hero played only 6 minutes and he was in the game for most of the time, right? He really kind of replaced Tucker. Like I said, he was plus 16.
Which I did like those last for what it's worth.
Yeah, offensively he wasn't the best. Is there a version of him where he gets better and he plays the whole season and his just body's better?
He's in a rhythm.
He's in a rhythm. How many?
His 3-point shot.
Do you know how many regular season games he played? I'm just pulling it up now.
My guess would be 15.
It was 8.
Jeez.
I know, kind of surprised, but I gotta hear Basketball Reference. He started one of them, played 8, right? And he averaged 12 points, shot 40% from 3.
Yeah, he was very good from 3-point range,
right? And shot 47% just field goal percentage overall. So to me, it's all right, like what he did, 3 assists a game, 3 rebounds a game, whatever. That was just us bringing him back. Is there a version of him where he's a starter, where he fits well with next to Butler, next to Hero? I mean, but I don't think you can start Butler, Hero, and Lowry. So maybe is he a 6th man? Does he want to be the 6th man on our team if we're starting Hero? Does Hero want to stay as a 6th man? If maybe bring Victor, do we get rid of Lowry? I kind of. Well, if those 3 guards, one is the odd man out, and I'm curious what we do with.
Well, let me give you a little. Maybe I think Oladipo, if we keep him for cheap and if he improves, he could actually. I don't think it would be crazy if he was a starter. If we make the Lowry and Duncan and we move those guys and we try to get a 2-way 3-and-D much better. I don't even know who that would be. But could I see a lineup of Jimmy,
we
Bam?
Still can't do it though because then are you benching Hero? Or is Jimmy
Hero could be off the bench.
Hero's off the bench again.
He could still be off the bench. Or if you start Hero, Oladipo, and Jimmy, I know that's not an ideal setup with the 3 of them being ball dominant guys. But maybe Hero's able to be more off.
Wait, so you're saying Hero, Oladipo, Jimmy, and this point guard you just traded Lowry for?
No, and Bam, and then a PJ Tucker / Duncan fill-in person.
Who's the point guard?
I don't know who that is.
Because it's is
that
case, point guard? Is Hero point guard?
No, I think all of them can do enough facilitating. Bam can facilitate. Spoelstra can freaking facilitate. You know what I mean? It's not... But in any case, you didn't answer my first question, which was, do you think there's a market for him? Do you think there's going to be a dumb team that throws a lot of money at him? I would say
not a lot.
My bet would be yes. So would you
more than us? Perhaps. So really the question is, what does he want? I think he wants to win a title, but on his terms as well. Is does he want
New York?
Be...
You don't think the Knicks will give him a fat I could see the Knicks doing it.
The Knicks are not paying him $20 million a year.
No, not that much, but still more than we're not giving him close to $20 million. So
I think the max I could see us giving him is 9 or 10.
All right, so let's just run through. Duncan Robinson, he's on our team next year, yes or no?
No.
Well,
at least before
is Lowry on our
trading
team?
Before the deadline.
Is Lowry on our team, yes or no?
Lowry is yes, because we invested.
Okay, I agree with. I think I agree with both those. Third, let's do Hero. Tyler Hero. Is he on our team? Yes or no?
That's the thing.
He's a tougher one.
If you tell me that, Donovan Mitchell in 2 months is gonna request a trade and say I want out of here, and their asking price is like
You don't think there's gonna be a better offer? Can we give the best offer? We don't even have any picks, do we?
I mean,
I should probably do.
I think the fact that he wants to go to Miami, which I'm making this up.
And
right?
D-Wade would like throw us a bone.
I think like if he wants to come to Miami, he can almost force his way. That's what players have the power to do now. He could say, listen, the best that you're gonna get is 2 first-rounders, Omer Yurtseven, Tyler Hero, and Duncan Robinson from Miami Heat. Take it now, and you know what?
It's a pretty solid.
I think that's a pretty.
And throw in Caleb. No, I don't think we have Caleb.
No. I think that's a pretty good haul, because then it's like, all right, you got Hero, Gobert, you got Duncan. Now you just need the right. I mean, I don't know. They have Mike Conley. It's awkward. It's awkward.
Mike Conley's out, dude.
Yeah, I mean it's awkward, but it's like, I don't know.
All right, well those two guys now fourth, Oladipo. Tyler Hero, I do think he's the biggest maybe in my opinion as far as easy to stay. All right, so fourth, Oladipo. Yes or no? I'm pretty confident in my answer.
Because I think he wants to. I think he loves Miami, so I want to say yes.
I'm gonna say no.
So
I think there's a team that's gonna give him a contract that he won't be able to turn down.
I'll say this. I would say
he's gonna be a dumb team that will give him probably just too much money.
I would say he wants to play one more season with us, and because he's 30.
He wasn't even supposed to play this season with us.
I know that, but he had 8 games. I think if he plays like at least 65 games with us, shows that he can like actually be a good starter in this league.
Listen, he's got bad knees, John, and I know that. The only reason he got hurt again last year because apparently they didn't fully repair it, and it was something a little bit fluky. But with that being said, like he's 30, he has to make a business decision. He has to make money. He has to continue to he has to get the bag. He has to get the bag before.
It is crazy. He was an all-star. It was 4 years ago. It was 2019 season.
Yeah, it's a while ago, John. So he hasn't been healthy in a minute. But maybe he doesn't. So I would say no. You say yes. We agree no on Duncan, which makes me sad, and we say yes on Lowry. We don't think we'll give up on Lowry after 1 year. All right. That's cool. That'll be the Heat offseason.
All right,
we'll see.
Was the Jimmy Butler build successful? Last question.
Dude, we're not even done with it. We're still going. Obviously, he's been successful.
So far, though.
We came, one bad ref call and one shot away from the finals this year, and we did make the finals the other year. I guess a bigger question, so I would say yes, it has been successful. Jimmy's been great. Jimmy's exceeded my personal expectations for him. Mm-hmm. He's proven to me that he is, I think, even top 10 or higher in the league when it really matters. When it really, really matters, you get into the playoffs, he's better than top 10, and he carried us. It's not like Jimmy, led us to the finals and everyone else was amazing, especially this year. And that's why it would have been so damn incredible if we did make it, because Jimmy really had very, 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 very little help in this playoff run. Yeah. So yes, I would say it's been successful. The bigger question, John, is does Jimmy Butler retire with the championship ring?
This is the thing, and you talk about windows. Things broke really nicely for us this year. Are we gonna get a 1 seed next year? I don't think so, which to me that means, okay, now we got to sneak in. I think we're going to be like Miami's sneaky as a 4 seed. That maybe they can upset whoever the 1 seed. Maybe they can upset, I don't know, Durant and Kyrie as the 1 seed or whatever, or Embiid's the 1 seed next year. They can upset that team in the second round, and then they match up well with the Celtics, and they're going to beat the Celtics.
All right, let's do a quick game. Who are you most afraid of next year, going into next season?
Giannis. It's Giannis every year. He's coming back every single year.
Number 2.
I had to say, I think I like to say the fact that I'm afraid of a lot of the teams in the West, right? Clippers are back, healthy. Nuggets are back, healthy. Who knows what happens?
We shouldn't worry about that. We have to get out of the East first.
Right, exactly.
So who you worry about? All right, Giannis, I agree.
It's not the Celtics.
It should be the Bucks. I think for me it's Bucks. I think it's the Celtics. They just beat us.
To me, it's not, because I know what the Celtics are. It's Brown. And
they're getting better. They should be getting better.
I don't know.
Like, honestly, for how great they are, I still think they have a lot to improve. Those two guys.
Those two guys do, but what do their role players look like? I like Grant Williams, great piece.
He's gonna continue to improve. He has improved.
So to me,
Rob Williams is gonna improve too.
To me, that's the core. Because Horford to me is on his way out. I'm not saying he retires if they win a ring, but I'm saying it's like at his age right now, 35 years old, whatever he is, I don't see him doing much more for them. Maybe he's off the bench, but it's Rob Will, it's Grant Will, it's the 2 J's, and it's Marcus Smart. To me, I know what that is. I know what that looks like. I'm not afraid of Pritchard off the bench and Derek White and Nesmith. Like those are their championship 8. Obviously, rosters change year to year.
I personally think Tatum and Brown, like, they beat us, and I still think they could have been so much better.
Oh, you're right. But it's like, knowing that we have Butler, at least in this prime version of him, for at least 1 more, 2 more, 1.5 more. Who knows? The over-under is probably 1.5. How many more good playoff Jimmys we get? Yeah. So I'm saying, knowing we have that, knowing we need to rebuild and revamp our roster a little bit, I know that we can match up with them. We still got Bam and we still got our core.
All right, fine.
Right?
So who is it?
So to me, it's the unknown of what happens with Embiid in the Sixers. Does Harden opt out and leave? I don't think he does. He opts into $40 million. Is he gonna come back and look like the same garbage Harden, or is he getting crazy?
Wait, are they gonna give him the extension?
I don't know. They won't. I don't think they will.
Okay.
They won't. And then the other version.
So I'm actually not afraid of that. I'm actually not afraid of the Sixers at all.
What happens to the Nets? Does Ben Simmons come out? So to me, it's the unknowns. It's the Bucks number one overall.
I'm actually surprised you're
To me, it's
that.
the Bucks. Because
How are you more afraid of the things? The unknown means like, could they be good? Yeah, but you also see a lot of worlds
because
in which
the
they're not
ceiling
good.
is higher on those unknowns. To me, the ceiling is higher.
The ceiling is higher on Tatum and Brown, who,
No,
like I just
I
said,
don't think
should
so.
improve and they can improve.
I don't know, like
Especially maybe they're gonna get confident. Oh look, we just made the finals. Look, we just beat Miami. I'm
I
sure
don't know.
deep down in their head, maybe that was the reason. I think Bill Simmons might have been saying something about this. Is like, why do they like almost choke it away again? Is there something in their head where they're like, no, like there's like some mental block where like, you know what I mean? Like, why do they keep doing that?
I know that we're not gonna be afraid of
growing
them.
pains.
I think next year I would expect them to have home court in that series.
Yeah.
So that's something that's gonna be. We're gonna have to. But listen, we beat them twice on the road this year. They beat us 3 times on the road this year.
Yeah.
So whatever. So to me, it's like. I like
Maybe giving
our
them home
chances.
court is the key.
Yeah. So I'm okay with the Celtics. I know what they're gonna be. To me, it's like they just keep the same. If they win the title or whatever, if they lose whatever, they bring back the same core, except it's less Horford and it's more of these young guys,
Yeah.
right? And to me, who's the next role player they bring.
That's how
in?
they improved.
You know, they're like I don't know what the next guy. You know, maybe they want like another kind of Grant Williams type of guy off the bench, another wing, big kind of stretch 4 type of guy off the bench. Maybe that's something like a Tice to replace Tice. But to me, it's like you know what you're getting from them. Giannis, the best player in the world. To me, it's him. That's the guy.
Well, he should. I picked him to win. I picked him to go to the finals. Probably the last. I picked him in 2020.
Dude, it's him. And Luka.
I picked him before this season, but then once the playoffs started, I did pick the Heat, so I didn't technically pick him this year. And then next year, I'd pick him right now.
You know what?
The Bucks should have made the finals. They should win the finals.
Maybe I was saying, it really broke nicely for us. We got the 1 seed. Giannis and the Suns got knocked out. But it's like, I'm looking at next season. It's like, what? I mean, no, I think there will be a really good team out west. So I don't know which one between, Denver, who knows, Dallas. Maybe
it should be Denver.
Move. I could see it being Dallas.
All right, I'll make my finals pick for next year. It should be Milwaukee, Denver next year.
Let's wait till after the finals.
All right, we'll do that.
Wait till after. But yes, I agree. Milwaukee, to me, they will be there. But I don't know. Maybe it's just gonna for the rest of the next few years. At least the league is gonna be more open, just because of the fact that there's no more KD Golden State Warriors. There's no more LeBron James juggernaut. So it's like. All right, well, shit. Maybe we can run it back next year. We have.
We'll be in the mix for
because
sure.
PJ Tucker is not going to be back next year, and I don't know what happens with Lowry, and of course Duncan. There's a lot of unknowns with our team, and
yeah, we'll be in the mix, and I know Jimmy's told. He said it yesterday night. He said we will be back in the mix. But all right, well, let's do our quick. We'll do a pod maybe later this week before the finals start, John. We can do a full rundown or a more in depth one. Well, quickly, what do you think? Don't even give me X's and O's. Just give me your general,
so
your less than 2 minute NBA final.
Right now on our sports book, it's Celtics are plus 130. Warriors are minus 150.
Yeah,
so it's pretty even. I would probably take Celtics.
I mean, I like the plus money for Celtics.
If Warriors are plus, I'd probably take Warriors. But to me,
I agree.
They have home court, so it makes sense. However, the only thing I'm worried about is what can the Celtics do in these next 4 days? Like they have today. They have Tuesday, they have Wednesday, and they got Thursday. They're playing Thursday night at 9 p.m. They have 4 full days, really. What do they do in those 4 days?
They're resting.
To me, is that a schedule loss on game 1 the way that game 1 versus us was?
It shouldn't be.
48
We have
hours.
this much rest.
I don't think it is because they have enough time. Rob Williams did not look good in game 7. Is he there? So whatever. You still have to give you X and O. So my off the bat pick, I'm between Warriors in 7 and Celtics in 6. Like I said, I think I'll stick with my Celtics in 6 pick just to say that I don't think the Warriors can defend the Celtics. As good as the Warriors are at scoring, they got big guys. Like they got Smart, they got Brown, they got Tatum to throw on Poole, to throw on Steph. Klay Thompson showed flashes that he can be that guy or whatever. I'm getting into it now, but to me it's like defensively, I think the Celtics can guard Golden State, but I don't know if Tatum gets going, you throw Draymond and Wiggins on him and Brown. Is that what you do? But then I think Draymond has to guard Horford because they got Rob Will and the size. So to me, the size of the Celtics alone is tough. But it's like Celtics are banged up right now. If Smart misses a game or two, it's like, all right, well, it's gonna go 7 then. And if it goes 7, I'm not picking Jayson Tatum in Game 7 in Golden State for his 3rd straight Game 7. Although as great as he's been, whatever, I don't know if it goes 7 to me, I'm picking that home team. So to me, the Celtics need to win in 6. So the Celtics are up 3-2. Let's see it.
Well,
if it goes 7, I got Warriors.
I actually don't think this series will go 7. I don't trust the Celtics to be the second team ever to win 3 straight Game 7s. The only team ever to do it was the 1988 Lakers.
It's not like a talent thing. It's more of a opportunity thing. Not many teams have the opportunity to win 3 straight Game 7s. So it's like
yes. Well, actually,
I'm sure there's been teams that could have done.
Okay, well, there's another stat that I just saw recently was there have been about roughly 6 teams who have played 2 Game 7s and gone to the finals. Did they win the finals? I think it was like 1 team had won the finals after playing 2 Game 7s prior.
I'm gonna fact check that, but that's
so basically if you play 2. Well, this is just what we've seen in history. If you play 2 Game 7s before going to the finals, you don't win the finals.
That's the thing.
And
getting Milwaukee in the second round. Oh my god.
And
that felt like it was.
You're the one who always says the 1988 Lakers shouldn't even have won that Game 7.
Yeah.
So you could argue that there's no team that should have played 2 straight Game 7s and then won the final series anyway. Mm-hmm. So that's gonna matter. I don't know how much, obviously the Celtics are a generally younger team. I think that the way I look at it, John, Steph Curry is the best player in the series. Steph Curry should be the best player in the series. Well, he should perform that way as well.
I don't think he will.
And yeah, no, it's actually good. This is I think the most fun storyline. There's obviously the young Tatum and like how good are they going to be, but in their first finals. But it's like look at Steph. He made his first finals 7 years ago in 2015. Didn't play well. 2016, whether he's injured or he's not, plays LeBron, chokes 3-1 lead. Then the next few seasons, he has much better final series, but he's playing with Kevin Durant, right?
Come on.
And then even in 2019, he was good without Durant a little bit, and they ended up losing to the Raptors. But now it's this year. He's finally gotten back. They have these 2 dreadful seasons where they're in the lottery. They finally make it back. What are they going to do, right? How much I actually think it's going to be like him and Clay are going to be like, remember, we're still here. Like we're not done with this, right? Mm-hmm. We're the guys. We're the Splash Bros. We can do it. And I'm actually expecting a huge series from both of those dudes. Because, and I think a big reason is they did have an easier path, which I think should bode well for them.
Yeah, one statistic we should end on is in the Steve Kerr era in Golden State, the one team has a winning record against Golden State, and it's the Boston Celtics. Yep. So for whatever reason, Marcus Smart has played good defense against Steph, and Draymond.
That's since 2015.
Yeah,
it's kind of crazy because
whatever it is, they have this little rivalry and. One game I do remember is back in 2015. The Celtics. No, it was I'm thinking the Warriors when they had won 24 straight games.
Yeah, and the Celtics.
They had like an overtime game against the Celtics.
Celtics win that one.
I think it was double overtime. No, they didn't.
They didn't.
But the next night, back to back, Milwaukee beats them and snaps the streak. So that's the first time I can remember. That's I guess the first game in the Steve Kerr era. Of course, Golden State won that one. But so my point. I think a good point to end on. The Celtics match up well with the Celtics. I'm sorry. The Celtics match up well with Golden State. So I think good series. I have a lot of Steph legacy points to make, and KD and Kyrie. The fact that KD and Kyrie's teams that they left both are meeting each other in the finals.
Oh man, I didn't think about that.
Bodes horribly for Kevin Durant, I think, in his legacy.
Well, I forgot to say this. I love it. Oh, we haven't even done the Kevin Durant thing. Well,
let's save it for next episode.
We'll save this, but basically Kevin Durant sucks.
On Tuesday or Wednesday. All right, Tuesday's tomorrow. Jeez. All right, let's do it on Wednesday because I have a lot to say about this stuff.
All right,
but. We can get to Kevin Durant and Steph in legacy in finals. But that's us.
That is one of the teams. I was like, my number one team I wanted to make the finals was the Heat. Then I was like, it'd be nice to see Chris Paul get one. Want to see Giannis get another one. But I was like, well, I'd love to see the Warriors get back and win one, both without Kevin Durant before and without him after.
To me, I already had zero respect for his titles, but if the Warriors win, I mean,
oh my God, if they win,
to me it's like, all right, totally erase the 2 titles. Steph has 4 rings, one before Kevin Durant, one after Kevin Durant. All right, KD, you hopped on a bandwagon of a team that was going to win it anyway.
I love it. All right, John, it's been a go on. It's been unfortunately a sad one.
But you know what?
This feels better.
It has been a successful build with Jimmy Butler. You can't win every year.
You can't.
Stephen A. Smith always says the Cowboys are an accident waiting to happen, and it's such a dumb thing to to always be saying like. There's 29 teams in the NBA every year that don't win the championship. Yeah, so you know what? Every team's an accident waiting to happen. And the Heat lost, but I still love the season. Great fun season.
Our Boston friends that if we won this year, it just wouldn't be a rivalry because we can't beat them every time. We beat them 2012. We beat them 2020.
We beat them in 2011.
2011. You know,
They wouldn't have
you just
been.
beat them every single time. So,
We're 3-1.
congrats,
now in the
Boston.
2000s.
Finally got one. We'll see if they can win it. Hopefully not, but
Actually, no, they beat us in what, 2010 or 09 or whatever.
2010.
Okay, so it's right now we
in
win.
case.
We're up 3-2.
3-2. In any case, thank you for listening. Have a good one, and as always, go Heat.
Heat in 7.